What's up, everybody? My name is Simon Hill. I don't say hit the like button and subscribe when it's time to talk about horrible tragedies. I don't want to profit or gain clout off of death. I want to preface this video once again by saying if you're not going to watch the entire video and you're just going to leave a racist, stupid, uninformed comment, thank you for helping my channel grow. Thank you for helping the algorithm. It's greatly appreciated. It's without there are no words to express my thanks. I want to first also say I'm filming this video in Istanbul, Turkey, and I've never been gladder not to live in America. I encourage anybody to get outside of America, get outside of your bubble, see the world, see that different places are safer, have more options for us, and to just open your mind. Okay? And yeah, so let's not waste your time. We have a lot to talk about. So once again, I get tons of comments on my channel from right-wing, conservative, racist nuts, and a lot of the times I'm disheartened that the white supremacists and the racists and the idiots who comment don't like to show their face. But I'm finally starting to see who these people are, and when I finally get to see who they are, I'm not impressed. This is why I'm laughing. Okay, so let's first start with this guy. He left a comment that may be offensive, so that's why YouTube kept it hidden, but I'm glad they didn't hide it because we now get to see who this guy is. This is by Ras Ton. He commented 9 hours ago on my video about the shooting of Leona Hale, and he said, "You people are morons, only seeing what you are shown. Get the full story before you go judging." So, Raston, if you watch the entire video, I did read the entire story, read 2 different articles about it. And I also said that it didn't matter if she had a gun, didn't have a gun, whatever. Police should not be shooting people, and nobody should be shooting police. No American should have a gun, period. That's my point of view. And Raston, as I clicked on your channel, it's great to see that you're in such physical shape, such peak masculinity right here. This is the master race, guys. Look at this man-boobed, redneck neck beard, literally a neck beard. I'm so glad this guy has content on his channel showing exactly what this guy looks like. Look at this piece of shit. Raston, you are a piece of shit. You want to come on my channel talking about dead people that get shot by the police. Meanwhile, if you got shot by the police, oh my God, imagine the bullets piercing that body full of lard and blubber. You are a disgusting fat son of a bitch. You nasty redneck piece of shit in your little trailer home with a bottle of gin behind you, singing into the camera with your shirt off and the sweat under your man boobs just leaking through the screen. You disgusting fat son of a bitch, you nasty bastard. Fuck you. Fuck you. Really, fuck you. Look at this guy. Look at your inbred family. Look at your nasty inbred family, probably full of the same disgusting thoughts that you have about dead black people and people shot by the police. This is America, my guy. Everybody, the world should see this. This is what America looks like. These are what the white supremacists look like. Now, I'm not saying they're all racist, and once again, my channel is not to villainize white people because I have a lot of white friends. No problems with white people at all. I can't be racist. My wife is white, right? This is what you guys like to say. I can't be racist. My best friend is black. I see you're playing the guitar, Raston, and I encourage anybody to do music. I didn't listen to your music. I don't want to listen to your music, but continue doing music, I guess. Music is a beautiful thing. Just stick to doing that and stop leaving comments on my channel. And if you're going to walk around with your shirt off, at least do some push-ups. Watch my video about doing some ab rolls. You could use that, you fat son of a bitch. You nasty bastard. You look retarded. You look like you have Down syndrome. Get the fuck off my channel, you fat nasty bastard. And if I was out in public and you saw me, you wouldn't do shit. Couldn't even catch me. Couldn't even run. Look like you used one of those hover rounds. God, these people disgust me. Napoleon Castro left a comment about Leona Hale, presumably saying more that, she had a gun or she was charged. I don't give a fuck. Napoleon, you are an idiot who did not watch my entire video. And in my video, I said, it doesn't matter if she had a gun or not. You're a faceless Annan. You're a pussy. Once again, the white supremacists are or pussy. They don't want to show their face. They're too scared to express their true opinions because these people, unfortunately, are teachers, police officers. They're the guy working at a company, you know. These are the people you see every day, and they are too scared to express their opinions, which is very sad. All right. Josh Baker said, why would I subscribe to someone who lies and uses it to attack legal gun owners? Shaking my damn head. Josh Baker, why would you comment either? Josh Baker, when we click your channel, you have no comment, no content either. You've been around on YouTube since 2012 and you're scared to show your face. You're a pussy. If you're too scared to say what you really think in public, maybe you shouldn't be thinking it at all. Okay, Josh Baker, thank you once again for leaving a comment, helping the algorithm grow. My subscribers have been going up, and I thank you a lot. So, Fortes Fortuna Juvat, bullshit. She was not unarmed. You're an idiot. You did not watch the entire video, and once again, you're a faceless anon. You're a pussy. You're a reactionary nut. Please go to poll. Go back to 4chan, you fucking loser. Okay, all right. Who else? Now, let's go to Buck Fiden. Buck Fiden commented, she had a gun the entire time. It's too bad she didn't die. Less thugs are what this world needs. This is an explicitly racist comment, okay? There is nothing... all right, with your logic, Buck Fiden, is everybody who has a gun a thug, right? Is everybody who is shot by the police a thug? Because there have been many white people who have been shot by the police with guns. Are they thugs as well? And either way, regardless, Buck Fiden, I don't give a fuck whether she had a gun, didn't have a gun. Nobody in America should be running around with guns. And we'll talk about that more. Now, when I go to Buck Fiden's channel, apparently he has all these... I'm not going to read this dribble, but essentially he thinks Joe Biden is a racist and a pedophile, whatever. He probably thinks I'm a Democrat, even though I've said explicitly many times what my political views are, what my where my allegiances lie. He's also a comedian, and he also shows his face. I have a lot of questions for Buck Fiden. He seems to be an active YouTuber with 196 subscribers and videos of him playing video games with his friends. Once again, I have opinions about grown men playing video games. I don't play video games. There are better things I can do with my time, Buck Fiden. But once again, don't come on my channel leaving stupid ass comments. You're just going to get your ass blocked. And you're only helping the algorithm grow. So thank you once again. But Buck Fiden, you're more than welcome to have a platform on my channel. And if you guys think these comments hurt me, bother me, they don't at all. They really make me very happy when I see them. So Buck Fiden, once again, you have an invitation to come and do an interview. You have an invitation, a platform to have a discussion about your views. I will be a moderate host. I will be welcoming towards you. I will be respectful. You are welcome to come on here because I would like to expose you for how racist and sick your ideas are and how unfunny your comedy is. So, enough about these assholes. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of what we're here to talk about today. 4 people shot in a Tulsa medical center, in a hospital, another mass shooting in America. I've never been more glad not to live in America. Let's read this article from the New York Times. Police said the attack was not random, but declined to give additional details. The remaining injuries were not life-threatening. The gunman died at the scene, the police said. This was published on June 1st, 2022, updated June 2nd, 2022. You know the sad thing about America? Many people, whenever they hear about a mass shooting, instead of thinking how terrible it is or what can we do to stop tragedies like this, all people are doing is waiting for the race of the person who did it. I know what this feeling is like. It happens not only in America, but in different countries, and I'll explain why. So in America, when there's a mass shooting, people are saying, oh, I hope he's not black, or I hope he's not white, or I hope he's not Latino. I hope he doesn't say he was a Black Panther. I hope he doesn't say he was a white supremacist or a neo-Nazi or something like that. And this is why the right wing reacted so viciously to Uvalde, right? But they didn't have the same energy for Buffalo. Because once again, the white supremacists are pussy. Whenever somebody does what they actually want to do, they don't claim it, right? because either they don't have the nuts to actually do what they want to do and they're just too pussy, or they're like Raston and they're fat neckbeards who couldn't even get out of bed in the morning, or they think everything is a psyop. They think everything is fake whenever a right-wing person does it, right? The facts don't change their mind, because like I've said in my video about how the Buffalo shooter could have been stopped, the government, the US government, doesn't spend any money, $0 to try to monitor extreme right-wing, white supremacist, nationalist terrorists. They do not. It does not exist. Poll is not full of glowies. There are not secret agents running around trying to entrap you guys. You guys are going to bring up Michigan, those 4 guys who got acquitted after they tried to kidnap the governor there. That's one example. But that doesn't mean that they have millions of agents just monitoring you guys all the time. You guys are free to do what you want. All right? And please don't do violence. Please stop doing violence. Stop killing people. Please have a change of heart. Please open your mind. Okay? Stop the killing, please. All right? Being an American isn't about having a gun. Being an American is about loving other Americans, whether they are white or black, whatever. Stop the violence, please. All right. But yeah, like I said, people in America are always wondering what the race of the shooter is. And this is similar in other countries. I used to live in Tunisia, a country in North Africa, and Tunisian people would tell me, whenever there was a terrorist attack in Europe, they would always hope that the attacker was an Arab, right? They always, whenever you hear about some guy driving a truck over 15 people in Nice, they would say, oh, we hope the person wasn't Arab, right? Because what happens when they hear about an Arab doing an attack, it reflects bad on all Arabs. And that's the same thing Americans do. This is why it's important for Americans to travel and get the fuck out of America and see the world and understand that our country is not so fucking great. It's pretty fucking shitty. Anyway, I'll continue reading about the Tulsa shooting. So people gathered at a reunification center set up at Tulsa's Memorial High School on Wednesday after a mass shooting at a medical building. All right. A man carrying a rifle and a handgun opened fire in a medical office building in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Wednesday afternoon, killing 4 people and injuring several others before apparently taking his own life in the latest mass shooting attack to shock the country, the authorities said. In an interview late Wednesday night, Captain Richard Meulenberg of the Tulsa Police Department said the attack was not random. This wasn't an individual who just decided he wanted to go find a hospital full of random people. He said he deliberately made a choice to come here and his actions were deliberate. Captain Meulenberg declined to say any more about the gunman's motives. Once again, abolish the Second Amendment. Just get rid of it. Like, seriously. This does not happen in any other country. If you are a right-wing conservative watching this, please show me another country where this happens. If you are a left-wing person who is sympathetic to guns, please show me another country where this happens deliberately. I swear to God, I will delete every video on my channel. Every video. If you show me a single country who has this systemic problem of mass shootings, mass murder, it does not happen anywhere else. Stop it. It needs to stop. It's embarrassing. And it's part of the motivation for me never returning to America again. Never. Y'all be there to visit. And hey, guys, if you see me out in public, do something. Do something. Y'all ain't going to do nothing because the right-wing extremists are all pussy. You guys are literally pussy. You're scared, bro. You're scared. If they can't have guns at the NRA convention, what does that say about what they really believe? All right, the police did not reveal the identity of the gunman, but an earlier news conference, Deputy Chief Eric Dalglish said that he was between 35 and 40 years old. The police received a call about a shooting at 4:52 p.m. and they arrived at the scene 4 minutes later. Chief Dalglish said all of the gunfire is believed to have taken place in one section of the second floor of the Natalie Medical building on the campus of St. Francis Hospital, he said. The sound of gunfire drew officers to that area. There is an orthopedic center and orthopedic office there, but I'm unaware if that occupies the whole floor or if there are other offices on the floor, he said, adding that it was at least part of the scene. As police officers arrived at the second floor entryway, the gunfire stopped. Captain Meulenberg said in an telephone interview, officers entered and immediately found a victim, and as they continued their search, they found the body of the gunman who had apparently shot himself with a pistol. Chief Daglish said that the victims could have been a combination of workers and patients. None of the wounded had life-threatening injuries, the police said, and no officers were injured in the attack, during which the gunman fired both his weapons. Captain Meulenberg said that the number of people wounded from being shot seemed to be very low, but that there were other injuries tied to hundreds of people fleeing the building at the time of the attack. Imagine a scene of mass chaos, he said. You can hear gunfire echoing. The Muskogee Police Department said that it was alerted by the Tulsa Police Department that the gunman might have left a bomb at a residence in Muskogee, about 50 miles southeast of Tulsa. Muskogee police evacuated the home and notified those in the area to stay inside, the department said. A bomb squad was on its way to the residence later Wednesday, and the Muskogee police were working to obtain a search warrant to search the home. Mayor G.T. Bynum of Tulsa said at the news conference that some of the families of the victims had not yet been informed about what had happened. This has been the facility more than any other that has worked to save the lives of people in the city, Mr. Bynum said. He praised the broad range of first responders today who did not hesitate to respond to this act of violence. By the way, where are the good guys with guns? Everybody likes to say we need guns to stop the bad guys with guns. And if we get rid of the guns, the bad guys will continue to have guns. Okay, let's look at this. Where was the good guy to stop this guy? Somebody would say, well, the police showed up and they were about to get him, but by the time they got there, 4 people had already been murked. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't have happened in the first place, period. And yes, bad guys will still have guns. Criminals will still do criminal activity. But this is why you have the police. This is why there needs to be a slow de-rifleification of America. It needs to happen, and it needs to be a continuous process. Enough is enough. I love Americans. I am American. What makes me more American than Buck Fiden and Rastone and all the other crazy conservatives is I love Americans more than I love a rifle, more than I love a pistol, period. And I love all Americans, white, black, Latino, Asian, everybody. We need to stop the violence. This is embarrassing, literally embarrassing to the entire world. And all these people want to say America's the greatest country because everybody wants to go there. It's not true, actually. The more I travel the world, the more I hear from people that they want to go to Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Latin America. Latin America is now more attractive than the United States for many people. Many people just want to go to the U.S., hopefully live long enough to get their degree or save some money and return to their country. America is not the greatest country in the world. Never has been. It could be, but we need to change. The culture needs to change. Abolish the Second Amendment. Because you know what? This won't be the last time you see me. I want to retire from YouTube. I know I just started making these videos, but the more mass shootings they have, the more my voice will continue to grow, and the more I'll say what I want to say, and the more right-wing nuts will leave comments on my channel. Also, I get encouraging comments too. By the way, shout out to all the people that leave encouraging comments. I'm not trying to stoke negativity here, but the more this happens, the more that people will have the sentiment that I have. Honestly, here's some advice to the conservatives, reactionaries, and stuff like that. If these mass shootings continue to happen and the right, the Republicans, don't start saying we can accept gun control, the response will just be to abolish the Second Amendment. You guys don't want that, right? At least say there needs to be some more gun control, because when too much of a bad thing happens, the reaction will always be to the extreme. You understand what I'm saying here? If you don't want somebody to take away your guns, make it harder for people to get guns. Have some gun control at least. But my point of view will always be get rid of the Second Amendment. Get rid of the Second Amendment. Stop the violence. Stop killing police. Stop killing civilians. Stop killing white people. Stop killing black people. Everybody, let's have peace. We are a Christian nation, right? Jesus wouldn't approve of having AR-15s with bump stocks and AK-47s with bump stocks and 9mm in the hands of 18-year-olds or 21-year-olds who just got their concealed permit license. This is not a Christian nation by its creed, by how we act. Anyway, the White House said that President Biden had been briefed on the shooting, which came just 8 days and night after 19 students and 2 teachers were killed in a mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and 18 days after 10 people were killed by a gunman at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. When asked about his response to Tulsa's joining the list of American cities that have experienced mass shootings over the past few weeks, Mr. Bynum said that his thoughts are with the victims in here, many of whose families don't even know about this yet. If we want to have a policy discussion, that is something to be had in the future, but not tonight. Not tonight, Mr. Bynum said. Cliff Robertson, the chief executive of St. Francis Hospital, said, "There will be a very bumpy road, I think, ahead of us. But there are over 10,000 people that are part of the St. Francis health system that every day commit their lives to taking care of people in need, taking care of everyone in need, and this senseless, horrible, incomprehensible act is not going to change that," Mr. Robertson said. Governor Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma said in a statement on Wednesday night that the shooting today in Tulsa was a senseless act of violence and hatred. And Governor Stitt, presumably, is a Republican because Oklahoma is a pretty red state and Republicans control the legislatures in most of the states, especially the southern central states. He's probably not going to do anything about gun violence, so he's a pussy. Fuck him. Fuck Kevin Stitt. If he's actually going to actually do something, I rescind that insult. But as of right now, no politician in America, whether on the right or left, has the courage to say, get rid of the Second Amendment, get rid of the guns. We need to overhaul the culture, overhaul the system of how we allow guns to flood our society, because the bloodshed will not stop. There will be, I've said this every video, there will be another mass shooting, unfortunately. I do not want that to happen. And I assume if you're watching this video, you don't want that to happen. But what is your solution? Is your solution just to say, get more guns? Is your solution to say, I want to get a gun to protect myself? Or is your solution to say, we need to either make it prohibitively hard to get a gun, damn near impossible, or do we need to get rid of the law entirely? I'm for the latter. Get rid of this law entirely. It's stupid. It's really fucking stupid. Okay, before the news conference, Captain Meulenberg said that the gunfire had ceased and that the authorities were searching the building floor by floor, room by room. It's a catastrophic scene in there right now, Captain Meulenberg told reporters outside of the hospital. Chief Wendell Franklin of the Tulsa Police said on Twitter that the police have responded to an active shooter incident near East 61st Street and South Yale Avenue in Tulsa and next to St. Francis Hospital. Please stay away from the area and yield to all emergency vehicles as we deal with this response, Chief Franklin said. The Tulsa Police Department said on Twitter that it had set up a reunification site for families at Memorial High School. Wow. Okay, let's continue reading. All right, Gannon Gill was wrapping up an appointment with a new patient on Wednesday when a loud noise startled him. A few seconds later, he heard it again. Mr. Gill, a physician, assistant, and a hunter, recognized those sounds as gunfire. There was an initial, "What was that?" said Mr. Gill, who runs an orthopedic urgent care clinic at the facility in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was the site of a deadly shooting on Wednesday. He turned to his patient and said, "Let's go. I don't think this is good." And you know what the sad thing is? Gannon Gill, presumably, as a hunter, has guns, of course. And even after this, even after people were killed at the place he worked, he would still say, we deserve to have guns. Americans deserve to have guns. But Turkish saying time, when there's no rug, there's no more fight. We have to get rid of the guns, period. And Gannon Gill, I hope he's okay. I hope his patients are okay. I hope everybody in this hospital fully recovers. All right. He would later learn that some of his colleagues hid in bathrooms or storage closets. He guided his patients through the labyrinth of exam rooms and interlocking hallways, away from the sound of the gunfire. They ran into a small group of colleagues who joined them. Mr. Gill crouched, moving quickly toward the closest exit. He and the group made it through the front door of the office and hustled to the parking garage. They were out in less than a minute. Once in the garage, he discovered his phone in his pocket and called his wife. "Don't freak out. I'm alive," he recalled telling her. He asked her to bring his car keys, which he realized he had left behind. It became clear to Mr. Gill the area was safe, and he stayed in the garage with his colleagues. Where they called others, they couldn't account for. One man in the garage, a patient, told Mr. Gill that he and his wife had encountered the gunman during the attack. The shooter told him and his wife to leave, and he was not there for him, Mr. Gill said. During a phone interview, Mr. Gill said he had a hard time remembering some details about a pretty scary day. "You see this stuff on television or the news," he said, "but you don't think it's ever going to happen in your workplace. Actually, you absolutely can. You know, what's scary is that my family still lives in America, right? And my biggest fear is that they're out one day and this happens, right? And, you know, even now, it's hard for me to get that shit out of me, that at any moment, at any time, it can go down, even though I'm in a safer country like Turkey, where there's the probability of me being randomly shot are nil, right? And once again, if you're watching this far, I used to be a gun advocate. I used to own guns, used to support the Second Amendment, used to go to shooting ranges, had guns growing up in my house, all that sort of stuff. And I eventually grew out of it when I realized I was a part of the problem. I became a gun vegan, if that makes sense. You know, the same way a vegetarian or a vegan says by eating animals, you're condoning the torture of animals and also the destruction of the environment. If you are a gun owner, you're condoning this sort of violence. And unfortunately, after these shootings, more and more people buy guns. That's the sad part. These sorts of things are like advertisement for the gun industry. All right. So let's look at some other news here. Here's what we know about the Tulsa Medical Building where the shooting happened. The Natalie Medical Building on the campus of St. Francis Hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Wednesday. Here's that building. And you know what's sad? My father's a cardiologist and he works in hospitals. And, you know, in Monroe, Louisiana, this could happen. This could happen. It could happen anywhere. It could happen anywhere. The Natalie Medical Building, where a gunman opened fire on the second floor, is part of the sprawling campus of the St. Francis Hospital in southeast Tulsa. The medical building is home to an ambulatory surgery center and a center for breast cancer surgery, according to the hospital's website. The Natalie Building on South Yale Avenue is connected to St. Francis Hospital, a 1,112-bed tertiary center by a covered skyway. St. Francis Hospital is one of the largest hospitals in the country, ranked 14th by the number of hospital beds, according to an annual industry list. Cliff Robertson, the chief executive of St. Francis Hospital, said at a news conference on Wednesday that more than 10,000 people work for the St. Francis health system. So I'll stop here. I'll stop by saying this. The response should not be just to put guards in front of every, you know, public service building like a hospital or a school or a church or a supermarket. I mean, this is just getting ridiculous. We are already one of the most over-policed countries in the world, and we have more guns than people. I consider myself a patriot to some extent. I consider myself a humanitarian. I love all people. And the violence must stop. And the violence stops when we take away the weapons of war, weapons of destruction. Period. This does not happen in any similar country. You can talk about the murder rate or the knife crime in the UK or in France, whatever. Even that, we have more knife crime in America than the UK. And the murder rate is nowhere near. Yes, we are a larger country, but India doesn't have this sort of gun violence problem. China doesn't have this sort of gun violence problem. The two largest countries in the world don't see this happen. The only time you hear about mass killings in those sorts of countries are terrorist attacks. Literal terrorist attacks. And unfortunately in America we have terrorist attacks like Buffalo and Timothy McVeigh's bombing of a federal building and other things like that, like the terrorist attack that happened in Texas when a man ran in a supermarket and killed a bunch of Latino people, right? Could happen in America too, right? And on top of that, we also have crazy people running around with guns who feel like they can solve any problem they have with the gun. So I'll end with this. Prayers to the families. Inshallah, hopefully the people that were injured recovered. And once again, I invite anybody to come to my channel to debate me. I will not be as rude as I am to your comments. I can talk to you with dignity and respect, and we can have a civil discussion about the Second Amendment, gun violence in America, and that sort of thing. Even hell, you can come on my channel and let's find out what you really think. I'm going to ask you questions about what you think about race realism, whether you think black people are actually as smart as white people, whether you think even race is a real construct, right? But once again, abolish the Second Amendment. My name is Simon Hill, and thank you for watching. Peace in the truest sense.